Okay, so I've been thinking a lot about what's holding me back from reaching my goals, reaching everything I want to obtain. And after some contemplation, I came up with three solid things that are holding me back and likely are holding every single man back from reaching whatever he wants to obtain. Or any person for that matter, or any even animal. You want to apply this, it'll get you where you want to go. Now, the first two are going to seem relatively obvious, but hard to implement. And the third one is going to seem a little out of the box, but that's fine. We're going to get into it. All right. So number one. Number one's pretty goddamn simple, and anyone will know this. This is just more volume. It's do more shit. Now, do more shit that you are good at, because you need to adapt and improve on the things you're already doing to increase your income, increase your capabilities. But this also means do more that you aren't used to. And in terms of financial success or the kind of grind and stay hard culture, this is actually seen as not necessarily a good thing, because they say that just stick to the one thing you're good at, stay focused and dialed in. Everything else you do outside of that is just a distraction. But for myself, I found that I 100% need to do more volume of what I am currently doing. But I also need to expand my horizons because it gives me different angles, different skill sets that I did not have beforehand. And this does not just apply to business or finance. It applies to my physical being as well. So I'm going to write down both physically and we'll just call it financially, because that's going to encompass all of your financial endeavors. And those, of course, are crucial to being successful, being just financially secure, being stable in life. As much as most people say that they're happy where they're at, they could at least have a little bit less stress if they were more financially secure. So I will be chasing that much more than I already am. Now, in terms of volume for physical capabilities, I probably can't do a whole lot more on the side of hypertrophy. I'm going to push it a little bit more. I'm going to start doing that a little bit more, but I think that where I can add more in would be cardio, muscular endurance, and agility. So I can add more on that, just stack on top, stack on top, stack on top. Now, that might not help me on the hypertrophy side, but it will help me with cardiovascular health and getting leaner. So I'm cool with that. More volume completely negates needing luck to reach whatever you want to reach. And so what I've noticed is when I feel sadness or depression, or I feel like I'm just lost and going nowhere, it's always in times where I'm not getting things done. And a lot of times there's valid reason why I'm not getting things done. But still, something in the back of my mind eats at me and tells me that I'm doing nothing, I'm a failure, and I'm going nowhere in life. And that thing in the back of my head is craving more volume. It's not necessarily me telling myself I need to do more, but it's this innate, natural sense that we all have. You've got in the back of your mind telling you not only are you capable of more, but you got to be frantically chasing more shit. And so the more and more we do, the less likely it is that we'll fail, the less likely it is that we won't reach what we want to reach. And so I simply need to do more volume. So I'm going to start doing a hell of a lot more volume of everything. I have to commit, and I cannot allow myself to ever falter on that. Number two, just as important as number one, because while you need more of the good in your life, you also need less of the bad. So I'm going to write on here, less poison. Pretty obvious, right? You don't want to be poisoned, because if you're poisoned, well, that sounds like you're dying, you're not getting anywhere, you're never going to achieve anything. But subsections of poison. We're going to write food, distractions, costs. Time is distractions, but we're just going to emphasize that because that's a big one. Food is the very basic building blocks of myself, of any living creature. Whatever you eat quite literally makes up what you are and gives you the fuel to do what you need to do. And again, when I'm sitting around, I'm anxious and I'm depressed, and there's something in the back of my mind eating at me, well, I can always reflect on what did I consume? What did I make the choice to put into my body? That's on me. And a lot of times when I'm feeling like shit, I can look back and say, it was the nachos, or it was whatever it was that I consumed that was trash and garbage and made me feel the way I did. So I know the second I'm feeling bad, I just have to revert to put some quality shit in my body. Now, that's different for everyone else, but if you can at least be aware of how you feel and track what you are consuming, then you can make the right decision for yourself, regardless of what everyone else tells you, because you know you feel a certain way when you eat a certain type of food, and that's how you eat. Now, for most of us, it's just not eating processed garbage. Getting all the poison out of our diet is a massive way to help us. There's other types of poison out there, and that could be alcohol, that could be recreational drugs, and those are gonna be a no-go. You can't allow yourself to dive into these substances that are gonna completely hinder your ability to grow as a person and financially as well. Next, your time, your distractions. If you're allowing yourself to be distracted in times where you should be working, then that is a detriment to your progress. That's just like obvious. That's like 1 minus 1 equals 0. That's pretty simple. I think we can all solve that. But if you're spending all this time on, let's say, content that is not necessarily benefiting you, you're spending your time on video games or watching TV, not only is your time being lost, but it is reshaping your mind in a consumption format instead of a creativity format. And this is something I've noticed, is that whenever I go a period of time, I always talk about doing a content cleanse or something along that lines. You just go 2-3 days. If you go 2-3 days without consuming things, TV, video games, dumb content, and then you go back and you start early on that 4th day, you've gone 3 days without, morning of the 4th day, you're like, all right, I'm scrolling. It is crazy fast how you start to feel this brain fog and this lack of mental function that just sets in quickly. And all of a sudden, your brain's not like seeking proactively routes to go about progress. It's seeking about routes to have short-term gratification and just stay in the realm that it's at. Now, of course, yeah, we can say that these are scientifically catered devices and technologies that are meant to keep us doing that. Yeah, they are. That's not a reason, though, that we can allow ourselves to consume poison. We got to get that shit out. I need to, because occasionally I do it as well. And it holds me back. And I want to achieve everything I want in life. And that is not going to help me. So less poison, always. Now, number 3, like I said, might seem a little out of the box, a little out from left field, whatever you want to say. It's something that is, for myself, the most difficult by far, across the board. Now, especially for that diehard grind culture, it's probably the hardest thing for them as well. But number 3 is acceptance. Now, what the hell do I mean by that? Acceptance, I simply mean understanding where you are at in your current cycle. So, like I said, when I feel those detrimental periods, I start to weigh on myself pretty heavily. I start to get angry and I start to feel depressed and anxious. And in those times, when I have those reasons and I know I'm not going anywhere, yes, I can start here. But what I don't want to focus on is not accepting where I am currently at and feeling like things got to happen now. Because most things that are worth obtaining take a lot of time. And I know this because I've obtained things that are worth obtaining that have taken me long periods of time. But when you're in that moment and you've been working every day for 2 years, doing the same thing every day for 2 years, and you are still in the same place or just barely a little further, having to accept that you are still there is a war inside of your own mind that is very difficult to conquer. And then when you get into those periods of distress, it tears you apart. It starts to weigh on your dignity. You don't perform as well outside of your job or inside of your job, or even at home, you don't do things as well as you would have. You don't carry your head as high as you used to. Because there's something in the back there that's saying, you haven't made any progress, man. You haven't done shit. Well, hold up. Let's accept the fact that we are where we are. All right. Is there more you can do? Yes, there is more. You can cut shit out. You can add shit in. But you're where you're at, and you have put in work. And for myself, I almost never do step 3. Never. But the more I don't do step 3, the actual worse it makes me. The more I'm in my mind and don't do step 1. The more I'm in my mind and allow step 2 to lead me off the path. So accepting where we're at But acknowledging, okay, let's follow through with the steps to get us to where the hell we need to be, is something that when I can implement it, those rare moments where I can just say, all right, yeah, that's where I'm at. This is the path that's set in front of me. I've been doing X, Y, Z every day. Most people aren't doing that. The beneficial thing about people who are watching this or have followed through with the steps is that you've done shit. And a hell of a lot of people out there aren't doing a goddamn thing. So you've already got value to your action. All right, just keep going. I say it like it's easy. I know it's not easy. But know that you're exactly where you need to be. If you're not where you are wanting to be, there's something else you got to learn. And accepting that is going to make it a lot better to stay clear-minded, function, and perform in the moments where it's needed. I hope you found this helpful, because reflecting specifically on step 3 is something that is starting to shape the way that I perform and allow myself to collect my thoughts and execute. If you found this helpful, please like, subscribe, share it with someone, and I'll see you all tomorrow.